It's not often a couple in the woods cliche film delivers more than expected, but Canadian thriller horror, What Keeps You Alive, packs a pretty good, and more importantly, unexpected punch. The film is written and directed by Colin Minihan of Grave Encounters, It Stains the Sand Red, and Extraterrestrial. The thrilling film surrounds a lesbian couple and their 1-year anniversary of being wives. They decide to take some time out and visit one of their family vacation homes, which is conveniently located deep in the woods. But when cracks start to show, betrayal and deceit set in. Because how well do you really know someone? This film had me feeling like it'd be a typical couple goes into the woods story, but it's not. And the reason it's not is actually terrifying, and I don't want to give any spoilers, but when the familiar sinks away, the terror sets in. And it's very intense. The two main characters both hold their own, with hints to their backstories and reasons they are the way they are. And it's nature, not nurture. I find these kind of characters the best in movies because you can kind of understand their brains. You can get a little glimpse into their backstory and it sells it to you in a way that even if they act strange or psychotic, you kind of understand why they're acting that way. Which brings me to the acting, and in this film we see some really spectacular moments, and it's definitely moments we haven't seen in films before. It's the moments that don't really show you, and I love that. It truly brings some original aspects to the table, and there is one scene in particular that is chilling, and it's within the woods, and let's just say the acting is great in more ways than one. And as mentioned, the terror is surrounded by the most beautiful forest and a choppy, wild body of water that reveals the danger to come. And it's not just the setting that is beautiful, it's magnified by the camera work. The Steadicam and the dramatic camera angles and camera work within this film really bring an extra element. I really liked the undershots that they did to make the characters look really big and powerful when they needed to, and then they also did a little bit of kind of overshooting where someone felt weak and like they were the prey. They also used drones within this film, and my favorite part was when they first got into the house and one of them is running around looking at everything, and the way the camera moves with her is just amazing, and it's just really nice to look at. And because that was at the start of the film, it definitely was, for me, the thing that glued me and kept me interested. It's great when you have a good storyline, but when a film really goes that extra mile visually, I'm hooked. It was definitely a scene that set the pace for the rest of the film. This film also tied in a lot of objects and themes within the movie, things that started at the start and kind of came around at the end. And although sometimes I really do like this in horror movies and I think it's really clever, I felt like it might have been a little bit too forced for this film, only because it was so original and interesting by itself that I felt like adding that extra layer, it just didn't need it. Which is quite rare for me to say, but I don't feel like it needed it. Which leads me to a recurring theme in the movie, which is the soundtrack. The opening has Silverchair, anthem for the year 2000. Aussie band, I don't know if you know of them. It's a pretty big deal here. And that was really shocking to me. And it took me a while to go, what the hell are they doing here? But again, as I said before, they kind of feed that song around. But what I really like is what they did with the rest of the soundtrack. They kept the silence in there during those stirring moments, and then they added a lot of classical music to the music up scenes. And I love classical music, and especially in a horror movie, because I like a movie that takes itself quite seriously, and I felt like this film did that in the best way, utilizing the soundtrack. The composing was done to match the mood and the tone and the pace of the film, and I just felt like it was beautifully complemented. The only other negative I have to share with you is the fact that this film is one of those films that end a couple times, and I know that we don't really like that. I don't like it, and I'm sure you guys don't, like with the false endings. And don't worry, I'm not giving away anything, but it is definitely worth it because the actual last scene is pretty. And a quick fun fact about this film, the two leads were actually in Jigsaw, 2017's Jigsaw, you know, the Saw franchise. Who could forget? They both were in the film, but they didn't share any screen time. So they got plenty of that in this film. I'm gonna give this film a personal score of 7, a scare score of 5, and originality 7. This one is definitely worth a watch. you guys will love this one, I know it. And it's out right now on VOD, so see if you can find it where you are, and I hope you enjoy. If you have seen the film, please let me know what you thought down below, and I'll talk to you guys very soon. Stay spooky. Bye.